Have you ever tried a demo before? Of course you have, you're human. Demos are a great way for a company to let a market see if they want to purchase something before actually buying it. That's why I have a demo of Dr. Pepper Cream Soda so that I can try it before I want to see if I want to taste the full experience of what it has to offer. This can is empty. Kind of expected a little bit more. Now that disappointment's out of the way, I guess I'll go on to my next demo, which is Mario Tennis Aces for the Nintendo Switch. I really hope this doesn't turn out to be a disappointment.
Mario Tennis Aces.
Boy, was I wrong. Mario Tennis, Nintendo's beloved flagship sports franchise. Back in the 12th century, it is believed that France invented a game called Jeu de Paume, meaning game of the palm, in which you would use the palm of your hands to bounce a ball back and forth with an opponent to prove yourself the victor. Flash forward 4 centuries and we get the sport widely known as tennis. Flash forward 4 more centuries and we finally added mushrooms. Flash forward 4 consoles later and Nintendo finally managed to fuck it up. Now, hear me out, okay? It's Mario. Yeah. But it's tennis. Mario Tennis is a staple Nintendo franchise, with nearly every 3D-capable console having some form of game that has the words Mario and Tennis in the title. Mario Tennis Aces is the most recent entry in the series, and it's supposed to be a culmination of all the aspects of the Mario Tennis series. However, this game feels about as bland as the Mario Ultra Smash's temporary box art. But what made the Mario Tennis series so memorable in the first place? And what did Mario Tennis Aces do wrong? For that, we're gonna have to flash back to 1995, with a small not-so-known company called Nintendo releasing a Virtual Boy, a console capable of producing 3D technology similar to today's VR lens. The Virtual Boy was a rushed project made to bring out a 3D environment and immerse the player in a virtual reality, the first of major video game publishers to do this. This was a heavily rushed system. It was basically used as a means to keep fans and investors occupied while Nintendo was working on their next big project, the Nintendo 64. Cue in Mario's Tennis, released on July 21st, 1995 in Japan, and shortly hereafter in North America. And this is tennis alright, however with the ever so real effect of everything in the world being a shade of red. Nintendo wanted to prevent motion blur, and the developers thought by using a shade of red that could be prevented. Thus we get this red monochromatic color in Virtual Boy games, while Nintendo lost all of their red colorblind fanbase. And this was a tennis game. It's pretty much it. It was as basic as you could get at the time. No multiplayer, no unlockable characters. Peach was actually just called Princess at the time, and there's only 7 characters on the roster. That's fine, I guess, but in an 8-player tournament, I'm missing somebody. Despite that, the game did fairly well, but raises the question of why would you buy a Virtual Boy and Mario's Tennis when you could just be playing this? Fast forward 5 years to the Nintendo 64 and we have Mario Tennis released on July 21st, 2000, and it was just Mario's Tennis without the S. Mario Tennis was developed by Camelot, the same developer as the Mario Golf series released a year prior, and Camelot has released every game in the series since then. Mario Tennis was a phenomenal title and helped set precedents in not only the future tennis titles, but the Mario sports games as well. Mario Tennis started off with this cool little opening cutscene with all of our favorite characters. It was nice seeing these characters we've known for years interact in a 3D scope, rather than just controllable on an adventure. Ah! Look, it's him, our favorite character never to be featured as a Smash Bros. Fighter. Yes, this was the first official appearance of Waluigi in a Mario game, as a tennis partner to Wario. This also marked the first playable appearance of Daisy, and the last playable appearance of Donkey Kong Jr. This game had a great level of polish back then, with tons of replayability. Different unlockable characters, unlockable courts, and little mini-games. You had this ring challenge where you had to shoot tennis balls through these little rings, Piranha challenge which was like a relay where you have to return balls from piranha plants. You were never short on things to do. I remember my personal favorite thing was when you beat a tournament with a character, there'd be a short cinematic that plays like a little comedy short. That gave 5-year-old me the incentive to beat the game 16 times. And beating these would grant the player with a star character, which is just a powered up version of that character. And all these neat little additions really made this feel like a fleshed out tennis game with that Mario charm. But let's not forget about the Game Boy games, which was a complete 180 on its head with a more RPG-like approach. Here you work your way up through a kingdom playing tennis and increasing your rank until you take on Mario in a tennis match to end all tennis matches. It was a fun little time. It was an interesting take on leveling up your character through the game's storyline, and separated the Mario sports games for console and handheld as 2 separate games with 2 different experiences. October 28th, 2004, Mario Power Tennis came out for the GameCube and absolutely crushed it. From the second you start the game, you get this over-the-top animated cutscene where the Wario brothers are trying to overthrow the Peach Dome tournament, while Bowser has this underground training dungeon. Mario Power Tennis put a huge emphasis on making this feel like a Mario game that features tennis, rather than a tennis game featuring Mario. With more advanced technology, they were able to really capture these wacky mini-games, like one where you paint a sculpture by aiming your tennis shots. I remember spending hours going through these levels and just having a blast trying to beat my old time with different characters. Gimmicky courts that bring out the zany aspects of the Mario universe, and each character had custom power shots introduced. A power shot is a special move specific for each character that can be used when your racket glows as a power-up, like Bowser's Fire Breath or Mario's Mega Hammer. These are separated into two categories of offensive and defensive, adding an element of strategy to whether you should use it immediately or when the opportunity is right. With each character having their own ability, you could easily find plenty of replay value using different characters and techniques. This was the pinnacle of Mario's sports games, and with the Wii coming out, a video game console dedicated to motion controls and sports titles, we were bound to get a fantastic new entry in the Mario. We got Wii Sports and a port. Nintendo went through an odd time with Mario Sports titles at this point. You have Wii Sports Resort, and Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. What more do you want from us? It felt kind of odd and lazy that they didn't want to use the Wii Remote to its full capability. I played Super Mario Sluggers, and it's without a doubt my favorite of the sports games. But nah, let's just reintroduce Mario Power Tennis as part of the new Play Control, with several GameCube games being brought back with new motion control additions. It was fine, just the same game with more frustrating controls. With the Wii era being a bust for sports titles, we move on to Mario Tennis Ultra Smash for the Wii U. And what do you think, Luigi?
Oh, this looks bad.
You guys know how we take a Mario game and add some tennis elements to it? Okay, so what if we made a normal tennis game, but we put Mario in it? Better yet, what if we just removed every game mode, every boss battle, every challenge, pretty much every aspect of the game whatsoever, except a new silly gimmick where you grow large every 30 seconds that doesn't add any replay value to the game whatsoever? Yeah, that's Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Camelot stated they wanted to go back to the roots of Mario Tennis, and that they sure did, because if you compare it to the uniqueness of Mario Tennis for the Nintendo 64, it still has less content. Ultra Smash has no new courts, no wacky minigames besides growing big and stepping on your opponents, which I'm fine with Rosalina doing. And it's just tennis. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was just a bad time, released as Nintendo's big holiday title, which also doesn't make any sense because it came out only a month after Yoshi's Woolly World. It also came out right beside Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Why didn't they just wait a while and put out a fully fleshed out game instead of a $50 tennis game with Mario characters? And now we're on to the Nintendo Switch, a much more successful console because, well, I actually played this one. 1 year after the launch of the Nintendo Switch, we got this new trailer for Mario Tennis Aces, a short 50-second trailer saying, hey, we've got a new tennis game. It was nothing groundbreaking or special, but hey, we got a brand new story mode with a map similar to Mario Superstar Baseball, we've got boss battles with PD Piranha being showcased, and Wario's racket is breaking. This looks like it could be a step up from Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. 2 months later, we got another Direct with more information released, and wow, we've actually got some interesting looking courses here. We've got these sand levels with interesting aesthetics in the background. You can play as Chain Chomp. This trailer also introduced the Zone Shot, a new mechanic where you can JoJo's time stop and precisely aim where you want your shot to go. If you don't react perfectly, this can end up damaging or breaking your racket, causing you to forfeit that point. Zone Shot works in conjunction with Zone Speed, in which you can slow down time to catch up to certain shots that are certainly out of reach. They elaborated more on the story mode by saying, hey, we have cutscenes and yeah, that's pretty much it. They showed off this new swing mode, a gameplay style where you can play with motion controls. I mean, that's cool, Nintendo, but it's like the instructions on the inside of the case. It's great, I'm glad that it's there, but I'm never gonna use this. We got a release date of June 22nd, making this Nintendo's big summer release, and a demo was available on the Switch already. Oh man, this demo is a lot of fun. I sure hope this isn't the entirety of the game. Seeing how successful the Switch was and seeing what looked like a full-length story mode comparable to the handheld games, I went to GameStop, spent $60, opened the box, and there it was, disappointment. This is Mario Tennis Aces, Aces being a play on words for the number 1, and thank God there's only one of these. Let me show you the depth of this game. You have the iconic Mario, and then you have his brother, damn it, what was his brother's name?
Luigi!
Mario and Luigi play tennis. Yep, that's the game. The game forgoes the normal opening cutscene and goes straight to the main menu, which looks nice and refreshing, never seen that before. We are then shown the opening cutscene where Wario and Waluigi come across an ancient tennis racket who we later find to be named Lucian and possesses them. Wario and Waluigi come back to the stadium, shows the tennis racket to the Mario crew, and Luigi's curiosity gets the best of him. Plot twist, Luigi pretty much dies, as it seems to be the ongoing trend in this current console generation. Through all this, the game decides to give subtitles to all of the Mario gibberish. Like, why do we need these? We don't need captions to figure out what's going on. It's more or less just an insult to my intelligence and takes away my focus from the cutscene. It doesn't help that the characters are actually saying words, but the words don't match the subtitles on the screen. Disregarding that, after Luigi gets possessed, Peach says, Luigi! And Mario says,
Luigi!
I'm sorry, it's just too funny. After the opening cutscene, we're thrown into the world map, and I see the inspiration from Mario Super Sluggers in this game. The map has a quaint little aesthetic, characters interact as models in place of cutscenes, and Daisy is looking at me like she just found out that I've been staring at Peach's ass. Well, we carry on, and we get introduced to this neat little intro level that shows us how to play the game. Fairly standard for our younger audience, and then we get a little mini game to go with it. Oh, hell yeah! The story continues along, and it's nothing fancy, but it's enough to keep you engaged. We have to go capture 5 power stones and help seal the darkness in this tennis racket. I too have watched anime before. Then we get on to our first match, and dear God, have I missed this. The stage brings back character. You've got the Goombas and Mips in the background, little piranha plants coming out of warp pipes. It's refreshing not to look at a blank court the entire time. I actually feel like I'm in a Mario universe again. We beat Donkey Kong and watch our experience go up, and there goes every single shred of hope that I had for this game. Turns out that the level up system doesn't actually allow you to choose your own attributes to increase. Now, I'm no stranger to RPGs, but why would you give us our own attributes if you're not going to let us directly influence them? Furthermore, if the story is on a linear path, no matter what we do, our stats will always increase the same, as will the difficulty of the challenges. So why does it matter what my stats are? Sure, I can go back and redo challenges for more points, but why not make it more open-ended so if I'm not strong enough, I can skip forward and return? Despite that massive oversight, while going through this game, it's obvious that Camelot put a lot of heart into the core gameplay. Each character has new models that look really great on the Switch's far more advanced system, movement animations have a lot more heart put into them, and overall the level of play just has a lot more polish than Ultra Smash. The story continues on, and we keep getting these cute little mini games, having to keep a rally with Toad, using power shots to defeat piranha plants, and then an actual boss fight with PD Piranha. Oh my God! Like, I truly thought this was shaping up to be a great new Mario Tennis game, and I've really enjoyed my time with it. But this is about as good as the game gets. The story is put on a linear path, and while this is different than the Mario Slugger series, it's really unfortunate that I had to go from one mission to the next. If I have trouble, I can't just stop and try something else to improve myself and come back. I have to progress. I hate to keep comparing this to Super Mario Sluggers, but I love the way that they handled that game. You had different parks you could go to with overworld missions to complete and secrets you could find, coming across new characters and items as you roam your way around. Here it's just a mission. Complete it, move on to the next one. I know Smash came out later in the year and was very tight-lipped, but why does one 2018 game have a rich sense of depth, while the other's just a massive hallway? As the story continues on, we get some cool mini-games here and there. Some of the levels are neat little areas from previous Mario games, like this Haunted Boo level, this one where you have to snipe out Shy Guys. But can someone please explain to me why Nintendo continues to put this generic boss battle in every single game that they have? These mini-games aren't as fun as the ones in Mario Power Tennis, but they are entertaining and add a nice little fun break to the story mode. In the end, we end up getting all the Power Stones, saving Luigi, and defeating a dark version of Bowser. We learn that the strength lies in our hearts and protecting others, and then that's it? That's Mario Tennis Aces! No ending cinematic, no final reward. I'm pretty sure Nintendo just said, here's a budget for story mode. And that's it. Like, 3D Mario games give us this neat little thank you at the end of their games. Why couldn't they put something here? It just ends so abruptly with no hesitation. Overall, I finished this in just around 3 hours on release day, and it was a fun time. I do find the lack of characters in the story mode to be a bit underwhelming. I get not including a character like Bowser Jr. because he's sort of an underling slash partner for Bowser, and then Rosalina is off in the universe being too perfect to participate in this story, but can someone explain to me why Yoshi just isn't in the story mode at all except for a background color swap in the first level? Seriously, Spike shows up more than Yoshi, and Spike shows up the same amount as Donkey Kong. I'm sure Spike has a die-hard dedicated fan base, but when you talk about Yoshi, you know you're talking about Mario. But when I hear Spike, I don't think of this, I think of this. But now we can move on to all the other game modes in Mario Tennis Aces, like options. That's Mario Tennis Aces. You see, once you've beaten the story, that's it. Now let me explain. After you beat the story, you can go back and level up your characters in the story mode, and that's all. We have a tournament mode, and yeah, that's a tournament alright. It's the same style and layout as the original, but the courts and computer AI here are a joke. Like, check this out.
First set.
I haven't played this game in 2 years. After you beat a tournament, you get the amazing reward of satisfaction. Yeah, that's it! There's no incentive to beat any of the tournaments. It used to be you'd get this cute little animation of their comedic short and be able to use them as a star character, but now you don't get anything. There's not even a gallery like in the old games with everything you've unlocked. So I guess all that's left to do is go online and fight opponents that way, and everyone is at the same level. A couple of friends and I sat down after we beat the story, and in about an hour, we had already maxed out our abilities. There's not a high degree of difficulty here. Once you figured out the game's mechanics, there's no depth. You get your power shot, you use it. You hope that the latency from the game doesn't break your racket, rinse and repeat. Sure, there's this game of chicken that's played where you try to psych out your opponents, but we're veterans of the series and know how it works. We had rallies that would go on for no joke minutes at a time, until eventually one of us just gave up because the game turned into the same monotonous pattern. The most depth that this game has is that characters have different stats suited to their playstyle, whether it be defensive, tricky, speed, but this is so common it'd be surprising if this wasn't in the game. And as long as you have Bowser Jr., it's an easy win. As far as power shots go for these specific characters, they have their aesthetic, but overall they don't really add anything to the gameplay except a small cutscene that's pretty much the same for every other character. It's not like Mario Power Tennis where Koopa has a special drop shot, or Luigi uses his vacuum and that contributes to the gameplay and the aesthetic, but here you just have a small cutscene that leads to a more powerful shot. The cutscenes feel truly uninspired as well. Most of them feel like cheap ideas to make the trick shots feel more cinematic instead of adding to the structure of the game. Now, not all of them are bad. I like how these Lumas throw the ball up in the air for Rosalina, or Donkey Kong smashes through barrels to power dunk the ball, but they don't add anything to the game rather than a cute little cutscene that you have to watch every time. So here's the thing that gets me. You remember those bosses and minigames that we played in the main story? Well, you can't play them outside the main story! Remember fighting Gooper Blooper? Remember fighting Petey Piranha? Remember that game that you played in story mode that was really fun and exhilarating and you wish you could play it with friends? Oh, you wanted to play that outside the story mode? Well, guess what, Sonny?
That's too damn bad!
Why do I have to go through a story mode when you could just make this easily accessible on the main menu? Why not add a reward feature or even a shop where I could purchase new rackets or skins with in-game currency, similar to Ultra Smash? I can't tell what the level is before I play it, which means I enter a level, oh no, it's not the one I wanted. Now I have to go back out and hopefully find the one I want. Oh, but you wanted to play as different characters too? Well, tough shit, you get Mario. You know, Nintendo, you really want to include a party experience for everyone, but you limit the party games to just one person. Now, Nintendo wanted to keep players engaged by releasing a new free DLC character every month. These included characters like Boom Boom, Koopa Troopa, and Dry Bowser. But this raises the question, why would you make these DLC characters when you already have the assets made for them in story mode? Why didn't you just provide these at launch and work on making a better user interface and giving us more modes that we want? And why are you making Birdo a DLC character? I mean, come on, she's been in nearly every Mario Tennis. This isn't surprising. We did get some cool characters like Luma and Pauline, and I have to take back everything that I said. This game is completely worth $60 now. These characters are obtained by participating in the online tournament, where once you earn a certain number of points, you could unlock that character. If you weren't able to play, then you would automatically be given that character at the end of the month, which makes me question the whole damn purpose. If you want us to work for a character, but in the end you're just gonna give them to us anyway, why would we work for it? I was done playing this game months ago. They also added Ring Shot and a new Boss Rush mode, with Ring Challenge actually being a fun new addition that resembles previous Mario titles, and Boss Rush being a single-player Mario-only challenge. Look, I get it, Nintendo, you've made your point. Mario's the only one allowed to have fun. In the end, Mario Tennis Aces is just a glorified demo. It doesn't feel like a fleshed out tennis game. It feels like they found a good base level of polish and had plans to add everything else in later. But if you're adding everything else in for free, then what's the point? There's no sense of replayability if I don't have anything to unlock or strive for. I tried going back and playing this game recently and just got bored within 10 minutes. My skill level peaked again, I tried my hand at a few matches and just thought, why wouldn't I just pop in my original version of Mario Tennis? This is the second failed Mario sports game in a row, and as someone who really wants a new Mario Golf, I'm beyond disappointed. Nintendo and Camelot are failing to create a replayable experience, which is exactly what made these series great in the first place. You'd get bored of Mario Tennis, you'd go to Mario Golf. You'd get bored of Mario Golf, you'd go to Mario Baseball. But now you really want to go back to playing Mario Tennis, and the cycle repeats. Mario Tennis Aces is a polished game, but once you've played it for 10 minutes, it loses its value because there's nothing outside the main story. Mario Kart 8 has 48 courses, over 30 characters with custom carts, a battle mode, 5 different speeds of racing, ghost challenges. If you're ever bored, you can find something to do, which is why it's the most sold game on the Switch and one of the best-selling racing games of all time behind, guess what? Another Mario Kart. So why doesn't Mario Tennis Aces take inspiration from it? Back in the GameCube era, you had all these different games competing to be the best Mario sports experience, and each one challenged the other to be better and better. There's an innumerable amount of ideas you can add to the Mario Tennis series, especially with the hardware 3 generations after the GameCube era. Sure, tennis isn't the most glamorous sport, but why can't we go back to a Mario game that's based around tennis, and a tennis game with Mario in it? Mario Tennis Aces is one of the most disappointing games that I've ever played. If video game rentals were still a thing, I would say go to your local video store, grab a copy, pay $5 for it instead of 60, and have a good afternoon of fun. But with that being said, I'm gonna give it my new patented rating approval system of 2 Waluigis out of 5. With Mario Tennis Aces out of the way, it's time to add this precious title to all the other games in my collection that I have not so fond memories of. He shoots! With that game out of our system, it's time to move on to the next game on my list, Super Mario Party, son of a bitch. This is a teeniest blooper.